Howdy friendos, Crazy Jason here, coming at you from my Blu-ray bunker, nestled up against the foothills of upstate South Kakalaki. That's right, it is my wacky emporium. And this weekend I'm going to delve into my top 25 most watched Blu-rays. Very exciting for me. I actually just wanted to talk movies. I was thinking about making this video where I'm just like, I just want to talk about movies with you guys. No frills, no special titles. But then I decided, you know what? Why not go ahead and make my top 25 most watched Blu-rays? Because it gives folks something to wrap your mind around. You know what I mean? Why 25? Well, I was going to do top 20, but then I realized I needed more wiggle room. And I actually wanted to go to 30, but 30 is kind of an odd number for a top list. And if I'm going to do 30, why not 50, you know? And no matter what the number, though, inevitably stuff gets cut out. But of all the lists that I've done so far, I feel that this is the most subjective list, for me, and one of the most subjective lists of movies that one can do. I mean, these are your most watched movies, so it's your preference. Now, if you want to sit around and watch Battleship Potemkin, 10 times over again, go for it. That's your prerogative. I tend more towards the entertainment side of things. There are some thought-provoking films in here. Another thing about my list is, of course, the criteria is every single movie in these stacks I could sit and watch right now, and I've watched multiple times, and that's basically the criteria. Movies that I love, and I'm going to say right up front that these are not necessarily the greatest movies of all time. I'm not presenting to you my top 25 greatest Blu-rays or greatest movies of all time. These are the top 25 most watched Blu-rays for me. So that's basically it. Very simple criteria. But before I get into it, I need to give a bit of a shout out. A buddy of mine, he sends me time to time, he sent me some packages in the past, and he sent me a Blu-ray a few months ago, and I haven't had a chance to get it. It's been on my stack, my stack of hundreds of Blu-rays and DVDs to watch. And I finally got around to watching it recently, and that would be A Nightmare on Elm Street. And of course I've seen this before on DVD, or before DVD, I saw it on VHS. And I'm not the biggest Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I do actually have a cube for it. I'm big enough of a fan to have a cube, just because I find the character of Freddy sort of a compelling, horror movie monster, madman character. I find the whole notion of dreams entering into the real world fascinating. I've had ideas of my own. In fact, I made a short film 10 years ago called The Night Visitors that kind of touched on that idea. So yeah, I'm a fan of the idea. The movie itself, it's interesting that this movie came out, kind of late to the game. If you want to, I don't think that Wes Craven was trying to capitalize on the slasher genre. In fact, it almost seemed to me that he was taking pains to present this film as not part of the trend at the time. It's kind of a slow burn horror film, takes a long time to build the characters. I do find some faults with the film. It's got a kind of stop and go feel to it, if you know what I'm saying. It never seems to gather enough momentum. But it did set me off to watching the sequels, and I have that box set somewhere around here. Anyway, I digress. I bought the box set that came out when the remake came out, and I believe they were just trying to cash in. It's a slick looking box set. I have it in my cube, and So after watching this, I decided to delve into, just do a marathon of all the sequels. And I gotta tell you, I don't know, the PQ on those DVDs is straight up ass. All capital letters, ASS, ass. So I do know that there is a UK box set with all of the films on Blu-ray. I suspect we'll be getting our own, before too long, hopefully by the end of the year. So anyway, this Blu-ray, it looks pretty good. It looks, I heard good things about it. Certainly the daylight scenes are good. The problem I have, some of the nighttime scenes, the dark scenes, there tends to be some smearing, some color smearing, and the blacks don't hold. That's my only gripe. But I'm very happy to have this. It's got a wealth of special features on it. Commentaries, featurettes. And thanks once again. I will definitely put the link. His name is Blu-ray Maniac. And I'll put the link to his channel in the underballs, as always. He does he does Blu-ray updates. I think he's moving away from DVD. Which makes me feel sort of shameful since I visited Big Lots recently and bought a bunch of DVDs. But he also does reviews of individual films as well. So I wanted to start off with that. And now let's get into my top 25 most watched or rewatchable films on Blu-ray. For me, folks, the rewatchability factor, you hear that from me quite a bit when I'm reviewing Blu-rays or movies in general. Actually, this list reminds me of a video I did a while back. I didn't realize, I just now thought of that. My top shelf DVDs, it's pretty much the same idea. My top shelf DVDs, I'll put a link below to that video. But that was in the other room. On my top shelf are my go-to DVDs. Those are the movies that I'm going to go to and watch if I need something familiar and comforting to watch. But let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get this first stack of 15 out of the way. All right, now this first 15 here, in no particular order. When we get into the top 10, then it's going to start to matter, and I'm going to have a top 5, and that's going to matter, and I'm going to have my number 1. So, but this first 15 is in no particular order, and especially this one should be higher on the list, but it's The Breakfast Club in the nifty Universal, slipcover packaging. Now, I had this already, I had bought it the year before, and it's the same, transfer, it's just ported over. But this is the way I wanted to own it. As it's just, I love, I was looking at these Universal slipcovers, and I couldn't quite find the right film. Well, eventually I got The Deer Hunter, which is definitely a great film to have this way. And I'll be having Jaws this way when I get my free movie from Movie Stop. But yeah, I just wanted to own The Breakfast Club this way because this is a movie, I have a love-hate with it, but I watch it quite a bit. See, that's the thing, again, the criteria. I don't necessarily consider this to be the greatest teen movie of the 80s. I don't consider this to be John Hughes' greatest film. I would put it definitely below Ferris Bueller and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. But damn if it isn't rewatchable for me. I don't know what it is. But moving on to another teen sort of definite coming-of-age film from the 80s. At around the same time, I believe Breakfast Club was released in 85, and this was released in 1986. And that would be Stand By Me. And when this came out, I had to have it right away. I mean, I believe that VHS was the first VHS I ever bought. So, that shows you how important this movie is to me. And you know, I'm very pleased with the Blu-ray. I'm very pleased with the slipcover. I had to get it right away because I was afraid I'd miss out on the slipcover. And so, you know, a lot has been said about this movie. In fact, I think I had this in one of my weekly roundups. So, moving on. This is a movie that I put into another top list. I can't remember. It may have been top 20 movies of all time. And, you know, a little bit shameful, in my opinion, to put this movie in a list like that. But that would be Predators. Which was directed by, God damn it, why don't they put the simple facts, the simple credits on the back, the producer, the director, the writer, the cinematographer? Why do they fail to do that these days? All I know is this is a Robert Rodriguez film. You know, it wasn't directed by him, but he had his hands all over it. And this is just a movie I can just put in any time. It's got a great picture. It did not originate on film. It originated on, I don't know. I don't know if it was a red one. Red one? Yeah, red one. I know Rodriguez, you know, goes all digital. So, but it's fantastic, and especially I'm impressed with the blacks because when you know, you don't originate on film. You know, sometimes the blacks can be not quite as inky as I would like them to be. So, but this is just an all-around, really exciting, fun film, worthy entry into the franchise, in my opinion. And I hope they make another one. I hope Rodriguez has his fingers in the pie. Anyway, and great slipcover. I love the slipcover. It's nicely embossed. And it's one of my favorite slipcovers that I own. I don't really have a lot of slipcovers. Next up, Juno. This is sort of this is soul food. This I would put in a category. I'd make another list called soul food movies. This would definitely go in that category. It's just one of those movies. If I'm feeling down in a certain way, I'll put this movie in and it makes me feel better. You know, it gives me a better perspective on life. When this movie originally came out, you know, I saw the trailer and it turned me off. You know, I thought it was going to be very pretentious, you know. I thought the dialogue was going to be really annoying. But then I watched it on Blu-ray and just basically fell in love with it. So there you go. The picture quality looks really nice on that Blu-ray as well. Next up, 300 in this absolutely gorgeous Blu-ray book edition. Talk about embossing. Yeah, in fact, this is probably the nicest Blu-ray book nicest looking Blu-ray book I own. But anyway, I mean, you know, this is a beautiful film, and I saw this in the theater, and I initially didn't care for it, but the reason why is because I saw it in a theater with a bunch of dunderheads, you know, and it was hot, and I was sweaty, and not in a good mood. And but when I went into Blu-ray, this is one of the first films that I watched on my setup, and you know, over time I've grown to appreciate it more. You know, it's a well told story. You know, it's as far as a film, it's something to be studied. It's got a good structure to it, simple but good. You know, storytelling and characters, the basics. So. And not to mention one of the most gorgeous looking Blu-rays. Definitely, if you happen to not be in Blu-ray yet and you're looking to get into it, this would be, you know, 300 would be in your top 10 first Blu-rays to own. Next up is a Criterion release, Naked. This is a movie that I don't really care for back in the day, but I picked it up from the library, I think about a year and a half ago, and just absolutely fell in love with the movie. You know, great story, great characters. Some people have accused it of being misogynistic. I'm kind of iffy on that. You know, I can't explain why I like this film. I tend towards dark dramas, horror films. You know, this is not a horror film, but this is, this is dark material, darkly comedic, dealing with subject matter that's edgy. So, guys, I would definitely, this is a recommendation. Definitely give this a watch. Moving on. Here comes my first cheat, folks. I'm not going to cheat as badly as I have done in the past, but I'm going to cheat here with The Godfather. I was lucky enough to score this fairly early on thanks to FYE. It was a used copy. And there are a few nicks and scuff marks on here, but I was so happy to get this. Someone very special to me got this for me as a gift, just a gift out of the blue, and I was so happy, and I will always treasure this. These are movies that, again, when I was younger, I couldn't really get into them. They were slow moving for me, and but now I just can't get enough of them. I can watch them over and over again. I could, again, any of these movies that I've shown you already, I could sit tonight and watch. Wow, my plasma screen has dust on it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this video, folks. I think I'm going to have to turn the camera off and clean my plasma. That's going to drive me insane. Holy shit. Okay, wow. I'm just going to horse blinders. Anyway, I do not include Godfather 3. I'm sorry. I've tried multiple times. There's a good story there, but Godfather 1 and 2, just mwah, cinema. Okay, this next one is probably going to elicit some laughs, maybe some nodding of heads, some raised eyebrows, hopefully not some hateful comments, but that is Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, you talk about a love-hate with me and Rob Zombie. One day I need to sit down with all of his movies, because I think recently I have acquired all of his movies on Blu-ray. I don't know what to say about it. Again, the criteria is the Blu-rays that I put in and watch. Again, I could put this in right now, watch a great atmosphere, shot on Super 16. The sound is fantastic on a surround system. It's gritty, it's raw, it's dark. And I think it's his best film, personally. To some people that's probably not saying much, maybe even to myself, but for those of you who agree, isn't there something about this movie? No, I don't care for the white horse. I appreciate the artistry involved there, but it just comes off as corny. But really, one of these days I need to devote a video to my love-hate with Rob Zombie movies. But this definitely makes the cut for me. In fact, does it make me a sick person that I often watch this movie when I go to bed? Okay, what does that say about me? Seriously. Comment below. Or actually, I don't know. I don't want all the comments to be about why Crazy is sick because he watches Halloween 2 as his bedtime story. Moving on. Winter's Boner. This is actually a movie you can score at Target for $5 right now. YMMV. But it's definitely worth the $5. This is a movie, I don't know why I watched it over and over. I'm just a fan of, so-called indie dramas. I say indie dramas with hesitation, just because that has, over the past 20 years, become a genre in and of itself. It's just become a catchphrase. But I'm not going to digress and go into that because that would be it. I'd be cleaning my plasma and ranting about so-called independent films. But, yeah, I don't know what to say about this movie. It's just, it's gripping. It's the atmosphere. Dark dramas. This wasn't too dark, but it was pretty dark, and it verged on thriller. I love thrillers. So, Next up, Zombieland. No surprise there. I mean, this is just a fun movie, I think, you know, that you can put in at any time. Highly rewatchable, a lot of fun, great PQ. Bill Murray zombie. Oops, sorry, spoiler. Reverse spoiler alert. Next up, RoboCop. Yeah, this is an early release, and I believe it's an MPEG 2 encode. So it's not the best picture quality, but man, this is a great film. This really highlights what rated R action movies in the 80s were like. They were hardcore, especially Paul Verhoeven, or is that how you pronounce his last name? His films are very, I mean, they're just very hardcore. Yeah, so RoboCop, can't go wrong with that. Action aficionados, sci-fi aficionados, and gore hounds will definitely love this movie. Next up, we're taking a real left turn here. Hoosiers. Again, an early release, again in MPEG 2. And there's room for improvement on the picture. And as a matter of fact, I believe they're re-releasing it very shortly, if it's not already out. And I'll probably be, you know, double dipping and making the upgrade, especially if I can get my ass back to Movie Stop and trade this in for a brand new Blu-ray. But yeah, just love this movie. I remember when you know, I was a little kid, I watched this movie with my grandmother. You know, it's just one of those nice memories, you know, grandmother watching, you know, a basketball movie. It's just kind of endearing because, you know, she didn't really want to sit and watch a basketball movie with me. But, you know, always loved basketball growing up. I played basketball. I've got a basketball goal outside. I still shoot hoops now and then. But, you know, really it's the story and the characters. You know, Dennis Hopper and Gene Hackman give fantastic performances, as does Barbara Hershey. Again, I do crave a better transfer because the cinematography is gorgeous. So all of these movies so far, I mean, I've got the urge on every single one to watch. So, all right, we're closing in on the last two here for the top. For the first 15 of the top 25. Misery. Rewatchable, rewatchable, rewatchable. Again, great story, great characters, thriller. You can't go wrong with this, folks. I don't know what else to say. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. And then we have 3:10 to Yuma. Rewatchable. Is it the best Western? No. But it's a story well told. Again, the fundamentals, you know. Story and characters come first, always. And, you know, in this day and age, that's kind of a rarity. And this film has it. It's very entertaining. Russell Crowe is the man. You know, he's a man's man. You know, we don't have too many men these days, real men. But Russell Crowe is one of them. And I do not shirk from my man crush on Russell Crowe. I have no shame on that. But I'm also really impressed with, what's his name? Ben Foster. You know, I really would like to see him in more diverse roles, but he excels at playing the kind of character that he plays in this movie. So, yeah, 3:10 to Yuma. I'm going to leave it there. And, you know, I'll be back and we'll delve into my top 10 most watched Blu-rays of all time. I'm going to say this again at the end of the next video, but if you, you know, let me know what your top, you know, your top 10, your top 5, your top 20, whatever. You know, let me know what your most watched Blu-rays are. And if you feel like it, make a video response. You know, that would be awesome. I always love to watch you guys' video responses. I mean, that's what this community is all about. You know, we love watching each other hold up the Blu-rays and get a different perspective from every person. So thanks for watching, and part 2 coming very soon.